Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit of the WoW podcast Blue Please on cynicalbrit.com. It brings me great joy in my heart to give you this video. Hi Finkel, how are you doing? He's a little terrified, poor dear. Bloody gnomes. Ah, a styling diving helmet. This is perfect because we're about to dive into the murky depths of heroics. And we're going to get our arses handed to us. This is a wipe video. And I'm happy that it's a wipe video. So we went in here with a reasonable group on Ventrilo. We're a bit undergeared. We're not at the item level 333 recommended, which is what Blizzard said. You probably should be at that before you do anything. We vary. I'm at about 317, I think. The tank's at about 325. Healer's at 333. So we're close, but we're not quite there yet. We're going to be attempting the first boss. This is going to be a montage of various attempts. I'm going to explain to you the new mechanics of the heroic version of this boss, and I'm going to show you just how hard it actually is. It kicked our asses, and I'm very happy that it kicked our asses. Very happy indeed. Now, I'm going to be working over the next couple of days to make sure that my gear is up to snuff, and I'll be looking to get the item level average 333 that Blizzard has been recommending, and heroic content will be run over the next couple of weeks, and I'm looking to record everything. So, every dungeon, full run. Yes, Shadowfang Keep is out. Yes, Deadmines is out. No, they are not quite balanced and complete yet. There are a lot of problems with them. I mean, they're not properly itemized. You get level 20 items from Heroic Deadmines, not too good. And SFK is a total mess at the minute. It doesn't work properly. Most of the encounters are so unbelievably overtuned that Blizzard themselves have said, look, this is in a really rough state. Whatever the case, I'm not really going to show you the trash here because honestly, there's not too much to see. It's pretty challenging, but not crazy. And the full run video of this will be where I show you everything. Right now, I'm going to show you the first boss, and I'm going to show you various wipes on this boss. And this should hopefully give you some insight to what's actually going on here. So let's kick it off right here, and I'll skip forward to our first attempt.
I'm not gonna be happy about this.
First things first, we didn't have any idea what this guy was going to do. We'd not looked at any guides, and indeed there really aren't any right now. So we went in here blind. Now the first thing he'll do is he'll cast something called Call for Help. It doesn't do anything, but the first difference is his Quake ability. It casts faster, it does more damage. As you'll see, I'm not quite quick enough to get out of it, and each Quake spawns an ad. Yes, it does. These ads hit for 10,000 damage, and it spawns 5 of them. So we're like, oh god, oh god. The tank picks it up, we burn as much as we can, but you see the tank's taking a lot of damage. And now, it's smacked us down, and it's done the chain ability, those chains of woe. And we're sort of boned, because we're going to get skull crushed. And we're dead. Completely dead. Done. Totally screwed. Now, that happened really fast, so you guys might be wondering, well, what the hell is going on there? So let me skip to the next attempt, and I'll try and explain just how the fight works and why exactly we're losing here. Right, so it opens with a standard pole, and he'll use his Call for Help ability. As regards to what this does, I'm really not sure. It has no discernible effect at the moment, but that would be, well, I'd imagine. Say if you didn't kill the group here, it might pull them in. You saw to the right there, we actually had a bunch of trash around there. Okay, so we start with our DPS as normal. Now, we're waiting for the first Quake to come in. Now, we know that the ads are going to come in this time, so the idea is the tank is going to try and grab them. I move quickly, and I'm not quick enough. You do have to move about 5 or 6 yards. I've got one on me, which is not all that helpful, but the tank is able to pick it up. So what we try doing here is we try AoEing them down, applying some damage, doing as much as we can, Curtain of Frost, Blast Wave, Dragon's Breath, everything we possibly can here. And we are successful in killing some of them. And then we start applying more damage to the boss. Now, at 66%, he casts Chains of Woe. You've got about 6 or 7 seconds to get out of these. Now, as we discovered, the Chains of Woe count as one mob. They are not split, so using AoE is not effective. You need to single target DPS them down. If you are able to break out of the chains, then you can run away from the Skull Crusher attack. If you do not get away from the Skull Crusher attack, it will kill you. Simple as that. You die, end of discussion. Now, after that, he'll do another Quake, which you noticed killed the tank. We got ads all over the place. Once the tank started getting hit, he went down like a sack of potatoes, and we wiped once again. But we were at least able to break out of those chains right there, and we do have some inconsistency with that, honestly, throughout these various wipes. Sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't, and later on we decide we're going to use a macro to target chains, and just hit that button. Some people might wonder why I bound it to F12. That's because I use a G11 keyboard. The macro G12 key is very close to my left hand, so it's easy to push that, target, and then get the hell out of there. Mages can blink out of it. It is a stun-based mechanic. Now, this next wipe is going to showcase the fact that this guy and his ads hit like absolute trucks, and the use of cooldowns is required in order to get past this first phase right here. He has a Mortal Strike, which doesn't help at all. It seems to be applied at random, so it's not reliable. I've heard of people being able to beat this boss, obviously in full iLvl 333 gear, and they said, oh, well, we were only really able to beat it because the MS did not apply. In this case, it doesn't seem to apply. There's the Quake. Got to get out of that. You really have to be so quick in order to get out of that, and a lot of us are getting hit by it, as you can see. We do get better as we go on, as you might imagine. That's the nature of things. But look at the amount of damage the tank just took. Absolutely annihilated right there. Cooldowns were not used on that attempt, which clearly demonstrates they need to be. Things we've been using, we've obviously been using Shield Wall, we use Last Stand at times in this video, and we also use Hand of Sacrifice to reduce the amount of damage that the tank is taking. That is effective, and that does work and allows you to get past that phase, but if you do not use it, the tank with the item level sort of around 325 gets squished, without a doubt. And it's gone. So there's another wipe for you. Let's go forward and have a look at some other situations that can occur with this boss. Now, as far as I can tell, the Skull Crusher mechanic is death, regardless of your gear. I hope it is. I really do. None of us managed to survive it without using some kind of gimmick like Ice Block or whatever. So I hope that it maintains that. There we go, I actually got out of the Quake. You don't have to go that far, but you do have to move quite quickly. The Quake is a fairly short casting time. I'm pretty sure it's shorter than the normal mode of that as well. We're still trying to DPS the ads down, which is not actually what you should be doing, as we figured out later. There are a number of things that we're doing wrong here, but bear in mind we're discovering this for the very first time, so we're trying out a bunch of different tactics. Standing in the Quake again. Here's the problem. If you do not apply enough DPS to him, he can Quake twice, which means there will be more ads up, and at that point, you are in massive trouble. You can see the tank is taking an absolute pounding. The healer was desperately trying to keep him alive, and then, when we get him to 66, suddenly bunch of ads plus the chains. We're not getting the DPS on there. We're trying so desperately to bring things down. It doesn't happen. I blink out of it. Everyone else dies. Yeah, not good. We didn't focus our DPS there, which didn't help at all. But the first thing that you really have to bear in mind is that the first phase of this fight is a DPS race. You must bring him down to 66% before he gets 2 waves of ads out. Because if he gets 10 ads out, your tank is dead. You're just not going to be able to hold that. With cooldowns, maybe, but it's overwhelming the amount of damage they can put out. And bear in mind, of course, they could get aggroed by another member of the group, and then they'll go pound on them, and then he's toast, and there's no way he's going to be able to stand up to that amount of damage. Now, we tried a number of different strategies involving AoEing the ads down, but we came to the conclusion after several more wipes that that was not the way to do things. We had noticed from a previous wipe attempt that the Skull Crush also does damage to the ads. So what we thought is, we will try and keep the ads alive. We will DPS and focus fire on the target as much as humanly possible. So we wait for a little bit of aggro, not too much. We go in there straight away. And what we should actually be doing here is using Time Warp. So there we go. Time Warp has been activated after he's got the aggro to make sure that he can hold it, because we had aggro problems in the past. We move very quickly out here, out of the way. There we go, no problem at all. So we don't take damage from that. The tank is taking it, and the tank is using a cooldown in order to stay alive. And Hand of Sacrifice has been used as well. So we're nuking down, and there we go, 66%. Now we focus the change. Focus the chains, bring them down quickly as possible. It's very close, and I blink the hell out of there. Now, we are able to get away there, and none of us die from that. And look, it kills the ads. So there you go. And then he's straight back in with a Quake. He does not relent at all. We got about 2 seconds to recover from that, and he's right back in with that mechanic. So at that point, we get overwhelmed. The tank isn't quite prepared for the wave of ads coming so quickly. They end up on the healer, and they kill him. But look at how intense this fight is. Look at how much focus is required. And look at how synergistic these abilities are. They work in tandem. They work together to create this difficult fight, this challenging fight that you've got to be awake and be 100% dedicated to in order to beat. It's thrilling. Now, I've included this final wipe in here, and there were more wipes, but the thing is, they were wipes on the same thing, so they didn't teach you anything, and they weren't really conducive to a good video. This is in here for comedy purposes, as well as showing you another thing that we had an idea for, which did work. You notice the markers above the heads right there. There's the tank, and that's the healer. So what we do during the quake phases, we all stack up on the healer. And when there's a quake, we all sort of take 5 steps to the right to avoid it. But it also means that the adds all spawn in the same place, which means they're really easy for the tank to pick up. So we don't have aggro problems. Now, this does go wrong, because our Paladin, well, either one of his healing macros goes wrong, or he accidentally presses the whisper button as opposed to actually healing, and you will notice exactly what happens here. But the stacking does work, so we think that is a valid tactic, and it is smart. Just make sure you're not standing too close to the tank, because those quakes do stack. Oh look, 100k damage on the tank. He's dead. Enjoy. It's coming together, isn't it? We understand how. We're a bit undergeared, and we weren't quite focused enough. We know what we're up against now, and you know what? This is impressive design. It really is. I'm totally fine with us dying and wiping here. This is a learning experience. This is what heroics are supposed to be about. This fight works so well, and the mechanics mesh together so well. It is challenging, it's awesome, it's fun, it's intense, it's quick. I mean, this fight is over in 2 minutes, but good luck surviving those 2 minutes. You've got to be on the ball. I'm going to be back here, no doubt, with proper 333 gear, and we're going to run this entire dungeon, and I've got lots more heroic content coming up for you, but I wanted to show you this wipe compilation, just to demonstrate that when Blizzard said they wanted to make heroics heroic again, they weren't lying. Now let's see if they can actually stick to that, as opposed to cave into the whiners. My name's been Totalbiscuit, and I'm proud to have wiped in Blackrock Caverns Heroic. I'll see you next time.